Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back again to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is JDavis. I'm the host of Radio Entrepreneurs and the CEO of Mage LLC, management consulting firm here in the Boston area. And, I am a junkie for entrepreneurs. There's no doubt about it. And one of our next guests I've known for in many lives through many iterations of being a business person. So I love the interview. I love finding him on the web. And I'd like to introduce you to Denis Kefallinos and Diane Davidson, co-owners of Lift Training Collective. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
So, I'm interested in what you're doing, if you want to tell me at your pace, and also your journey to get here. Denis, I've known you longer, and I've known you through many lives. So I'll let you guys decide which way you want to start. I think it's probably good to start with what is Lift?
All right. Diane, you want to go?
Sure. So Lift is a small training studio. Studio probably is a little fancier than what we are, but we're not a Globo gym, so I think studio is a little more fitting. We offer, small group classes and personal training, but we are strength training focused. And we have members from all walks of life. So very inclusive space, coach-led classes and training, really inviting way to learn how to strength train. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I'll start with you. I mean, you have an educational background, and if I'm wrong, okay, I'm sorry. Special ed, correct?
Yeah.
Which would be very applicable to what you're doing now, correct?
Yeah. So I'm still in the school, but very much a teaching environment in the gym as it is there. Throughout this process, I would say I'm probably more of a learner here than I am a teacher. I feel like even with our programming, Ryan, our head coach, has been, teaching me kind of beyond my realm of knowledge and fitness. But as far as the role, very much based in connections with clients, with coaches, with, a lot of collaboration on that front. So very similar role, very relationship focused.
Good. Denis, you want to give your version and then maybe your journey to how you got to Lift?
Yeah. So, I guess owning a business or running a business is something I've threatened to do for a long time. Always worked, I've worked for the most part in technology, software, enterprises, and always thinking about trying to run some kind of business, but never really getting there. And then I was working. I was a member at the same gym where Diane was a coach. And then after training there for a while, I said, I feel like I want to become a coach. So I became a coach. I got a coaching certification, began to coach, and then realized that this was attainable. I felt that running a gym, operating a gym was something that was attainable. It felt like the secret sauce was really all about how, like Diane said, relationships and how you work with your clients. And again, I had a technology background, but then recently, and I have a full-time job too. Like I work for a company called Stripe, which does a lot of work with millions of small businesses. And actually kind of going to work for them, I got a view into how many businesses, how easy it is for a small business to get up and running today. There's so many facilities available. There's, your whole management system. You can contract, you can buy that online, your accounting software, all sorts of other tools, all available over the internet right now. And just like it gives you, I think it's a much easier time to start a business today than it was, say, 25 or 30 years ago. And so it just became
That's
attainable.
I think that's a great attitude.
Yeah.
But it was in your blood. Your family were entrepreneurs and in a retail environment, and you're sort of in a retail environment now, correct?
Correct.
So you're sort of back to the future.
Kind of back to the future, back to, selling onesies and twosies, but basically you're, dealing one-on-one with clients and building relationships that way. And so that's very gratifying.
And what makes Lyft special for both of you?
I mean, we say this over and over again, but I still think it rings true. The reason why we did this is that we kind of had an existing community. And it's very much a social place. As a coach, as a member, everyone's talking to each other. Everyone kind of knows the ins and outs of everyone's lives. So I think that was our goal, was to make this place somewhere where you're held accountable, to be consistent with your fitness. Obviously, that's what we're selling, is a fitness product. But it's also someplace you look forward to decompress, to see people that, you see pretty often. If you're in the gym consistently, these are people you see more than, maybe your closer friends. So I think our community makes us special. Mm-hmm. Every gym might say that, but
only because I have a recently broken ankle, I started doing more weights. I was never a big weight guy, but on a rough survey, my friends who lift seem to be happier than my friends who don't lift. And there seems to be some kind of community with lifting. They don't do it alone. And it just seems to be that they're a little bit happier. And I know a few guys who are, they're doing a lot of weights. Yeah. And is that what you find also?
I definitely think with strength training and weightlifting, your mindset changes a little bit. A lot of times with like a spin class or, kind of an hour-long, YMCA class, you're kind of trying to get through the workout. And, your goals might be all over the place, but a lot of times people's goals are to, look better or whatever it might be. But I think with strength training, you start to pivot your perspective and you start to appreciate like how capable you are. So when you kind of can increase the weight or your mobility improves, those goals matter more. And it's less of an aesthetic hope, and it's much more about the process, which I think is a little more gratifying.
That's a really fair point. I was just going to say, you mentioned they're happier. One of the things about Lyft is that all the training there is coach led, and you're either with a coach or you're with a small group. So you're rarely alone. It's not like you come to Lyft and you work out by yourself. You're always with a group. And for me, like I used to weight train a lot when I was younger. And, you would go to the gym any hour and just weight train on your own. And I find I can't do that now. It's much more fun and much more sustainable to go with a group of people. It's a little social. The cadence, obviously you're doing exercise, but then there's breaks. So you get a chance to talk to people. So it is much more sustainable. And as Diane said, you see progress and people encourage you.
During COVID, there were a lot of studies that came out of Europe about tennis players being happier than other sports. And I think a lot of it was that, tennis is not necessarily the most aerobic of all sports,
right? But
it's a very social sport. And they found that the social activity around tennis created a happier person. When I look at weightlifting, and I don't consider myself a lifter, I see people who are more social in a social situation, but they also, I think the ones I know, they have a more positive feeling about themselves, mm-hmm. and their body, not in a negative way or overly excessive, but they feel good about their strength, and mm-hmm. it makes them feel, they don't feel as if they're getting as old as some of my other friends, if I can put it that way. And I think that sense of social and control really helps. And I haven't seen studies on lifters, but I bet you the average lifter could be one of the happiest people I know. That would be my guess.
Well, I will say, we only opened up in the beginning of May, but we've had at least 3 or 4 social events at the gym since. We had our grand opening. We had a big thing on Mother's Day. We did something for Juneteenth, and I think there was one other time. And at the end of a workout, we'll break out. We'll go get some gluten-free banana bread, and we'll brew some coffee, and everyone just hangs around, and it's great. And I just want to say, like, it's a plug for our gym, but I mean, our gym is really beautiful. And so earlier, Jeffrey, you asked the question, what is it that makes Lift special for you? And I think before we opened the gym, it was like this excitement about, like, oh my God, we're going to do this. We're going to launch this business, and we're going to be in control of our own destiny. So that was before. And then we opened the gym, and I got to say, we got a really beautiful place. And now we just want to go into the gym and just hang out there because it's so nice in there. And like, I just go there because it's so good and it feels good. And when people come there, everyone's in a good mood. And so it's hard not to.
And I think it's addictive. I do, because I know with my physical therapy on my ankle, it got me into the gym about 5 months ago, and now I can't get out. I have to go almost every day. I just need that little moment, even if it's 1 or 2 exercises, just to make sure I'm staying consistent. Now, could you tell our listeners how they can find Lift and how they could find you in case they're interested?
Sure. Well, we are located at 23rd Avenue, Suite B in Burlington, Massachusetts. So if any of you are in Burlington, I'm sure they all know Wegmans and the 3rd Avenue Plaza. So we're right up the main drag on the plaza. You can't miss us. You can find us on the web at www.lifttrainingco.com or on Instagram as well.
Well, I would encourage everybody to check you guys out, and I appreciate you being on Radio Entrepreneurs. I hope you come back again, and not so long a gap between you and I, Dennis. And remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.